Welcome, bienvenue. I hope you enjoyed David's little bumming along there. Here we are once again talking about modern sales. David Chernick and Gareth Wax of the Many Hats. Our focus today is branding. I've been talking about branding non-stop. So one of my clients is a branding specialist. We talk about branding a lot there. In fact, two of my clients are branding specialists. Branding proposals, David.
Yeah, branding proposals.
Talk me through this.
So you've created proposals, right? And you've been on the receiving end of proposals.
Certainly.
Right. Now, I'm not asking you to just give your thoughts on how they look, right? Branding is, and if you've been talking about it recently, Gareth, you'll know that branding is much more than just appearance. And
it's more than just a logo or anything. It's a combination of brand ethos, brand direction, what the brand actually means to the various members of the company, as well as how a mixture of colors, layouts, and logos, fonts, all of that
kind of stuff. Now, that's a list of the different components of what can help you do branding, but branding itself is like a physical manifestation, a representation of the personality and the ethos.
Yeah. It's like the fingerprint
of you and that kind of thing.
It's the unique fingerprint of the company in a way, isn't it?
That's right. And we use it a lot for things like creating awareness of your business. And we use it for things like lead generation and content, and it features in all of those things. Of course, it also features in the delivery of your service, because when they get a Many Purple Hats service, well, it's going to be different to somebody else providing similar services because it's coming from you.
Right.
Okay. But just in the green room just then, we were talking about the relationships between clients and providers. Yeah. We were talking about your relationships with your clients.
Yes.
And what we have there is the two personas, the two personalities coming together to form some kind of union, where good things happen, an exchange of your services for their money, right? So we're talking about a relationship there. And if we think about the sales cycle, which might begin with doing a little bit of outreach and all of that top of the funnel marketing stuff, and gradually over time and over some activity, they sort of fall further into that funnel. And eventually they're going to come to, what we lovingly think of as the rectum end of the funnel.
The bottom.
The bottom, which is the time when we start going through the final stages of your sales methodology, that planning stage, that bit where we have to tick some boxes. Okay, I'm going to need to see some pricing written down. I'm going to need to see some of your social proofing, some of your credibility. Can you give us some case studies? And you're going to want stuff from them as well. I'm going to need some more detail on that specification, son. All of that kind of thing. Are we a good fit for each other? And by the time we've ticked all of those boxes, the result is we are client and supplier, right? Because one of those tick boxes is send me a contract by such and such a date, all of that kind of stuff. At this sort of bottom end of the funnel, we're already a way into the relationship. So things like brand awareness, that's kind of like over. We've done that bit. Yeah.
Right. I mean, we still want in the sense that they're already sold on the relationship. Yeah. You don't have to keep impressing upon them that you're the right people to do the business.
That's right. They're, and if your branding is an accurate reflection of the persona of your business and you, then you shouldn't at this point feel that you need to suddenly let your guard down and be yourself, because you already have been, right?
Logically, the brand should reflect who you really are, not who you would like to be.
So as with many things in business, crunch time, that moment of truth happens when you're closing deals. Has it all stacked up all right? Have we been accurately portraying ourselves in our branding? And I've had so many experiences with clients where it gets to that crunch time, that moment of truth, the close, and we'll hear feedback from the person that we're selling to. So I'm not sure that this is a really good fit. Yeah, it doesn't feel like, well, if they've only worked it out at that point, then it could well be that what they thought they were getting involved with was with somebody different to who they've ended up with, right? So a proposal is, really it's a document that summarizes the relationship to date and gives them a route forward, and confirms part of the conversation that ultimately turns into the contract. So yes, it should be a document that is branded your way, but there's more to it than that, because we can use that document to help us close the deal.
Right.
And here's the sort of the science behind it, I guess, or the philosophy behind it, is by the time we're at the point where we are confirming all this stuff down in a proposal, we should also know quite a lot about them, right? We should have had those conversations about, what's keeping you up at night? What problems are you facing that I might be able to help with that are holding you back? Yeah. In an ideal world, what would you need in order to overcome those sorts of problems? Yeah. And if you had those solutions to those problems, which, by the way, I think we can provide, what would it be worth to you? What would having those solutions do for you and your business?
Right.
And get that aha moment, like, right, can you see now how by having this, which we can provide, would help you do that? And then you'd be able to get on and, achieve your potential or whatever it is. Yeah. And if we get that moment, then we're going on to the plan. Right. Okay. Well, can I see a proposal then? Okay. So at this point, we already have a relationship. And so branding that document should be branding it for both of you. Yeah. This is not going to be a treacle proposal or a many purple hats proposal. This is going to be a treacle plus Acme Business Services proposal. Yeah, it's going to be a many purple hats plus, whatever your target market is, proposal. So it's kind of like jointly branded, right? If you and I, for example, Gareth, we're going to be doing a gig together, and we have done one. Take your mind back a couple of months to when we did that gig in a music pub and we performed music.
That was great.
Now, my corporate colors are safety yellow, and yours is, I don't know what kind of purple that is, plum purple.
Well, I think of it as Cadbury's purple.
Cadbury's purple, right? Cadbury's purple. Is that the official Pantone?
No, I do have a Pantone number. I can't remember it, but yes.
Right. So in its very, in its most basic description of that proposal, it's going to be half safety yellow, half Cadbury's purple. Okay. Now, that's quite sort of a crude way of describing it, but it captures in essence what this proposal is going to be. It's going to have to reflect things like the language that you're using. It's going to have to reflect the aesthetic that you use. When I'm selling my services to, a very thoughtful, wordy kind of management consultancy firm, my proposal is going to have to be quite, wordy and thoughtful and mindful, right? If I'm selling to my services to somebody in, a fast-moving, high-octane broker type business, buy sell kind of business, well, the document itself is going to have to be that kind of buy sell punchy kind of document. Otherwise, when they receive it, it's going to not feel natural for them to read. Right? I want it to feel natural for them to read. And I learned this many, many years ago. And one of the first times I actually put it to the test in a sort of a hardcore kind of way, I was selling some services to Clark's, Clark's, the shoe people.
My wife's favorite shoe.
Is it? Well,
Clark.
very, very sensible shoes. I like them too as well. And they operate in a town in the UK called Street. Yeah, it's called Street. I think that's where it is. And I went down there and got to know them a little bit. But the proposal that they received looked like an internal clerk's document.
So it feels natural to them.
So it feels natural to them. Exactly. It feels like this is something that is their own document. It gives them instant feelings of ownership over the document and what's in it.
Right.
Okay. Now, it would still have my own branding in it, but it would feel like they own the document. And that's really important because it takes away a huge barrier. When people are receiving all of these documents and quotes and proposals, and, you know, you're really counting them at that point to say, oh, well, I want to make sure that I buy from IBM because nobody ever got fired for buying IBM, and it's covered in IBM.
That's what they used to say. That's what they used.
But most businesses are not IBM, and most businesses are not Apple. You know, we learn so much from Apple branding and
but more these days, their businesses aren't the you can guarantee to buy from them.
You are not the leading brand. Most of the people listening to this will not be the leading brand in their sector.
Right.
So yes, you can mimic some of what you see in that leading brand to make it feel to you like you've got stealing some of their essence, but that's not it. And certainly when you're at the time when you're sending a proposal, you know, that is not it. What you want to be doing at that point is connecting you guys together, which means reflecting their branding. So I wanted to share some of the tips that I use and my clients use in order to give that essence. Okay, so just sort of on a practical level. You ready?
Go on. I can't wait.
So, you know, you want to be heading over to their website. Back in the old days, I used to, before everybody had websites, even before the internet, actually, but I would send off for their annual report. I would get hold of their brochures, right? Do you remember the days when you used to send off for people's annual reports?
Yeah, I did.
Those people back in the day, we used to get quite good at reading annual reports.
Yeah, but it feels like a different time. We don't do that anymore because we've got the website and we've got
all of that information.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, but we'd send off these brochures. We'd look at their stuff. Why are we doing that? Because we're trying to get a feel for who we're dealing with.
Right.
Now, even back then, we're able to then reflect in the documentation that we send as part of a proposal. We're able to reflect their own branding in that. Yeah. And I remember that one of the things that Clark's had in its own brochures was sort of huge, beautiful hero images, right? So, of course, in their proposal, we were going to have that. I think their corporate colors was something like British Racing Green, something along those lines at the time. So, of course, it was done in green.
Of course.
Okay. So little hints like that. But these days, I'm heading over to their website. Firstly, I'm looking for their most recent publication. So they might produce white papers as a PDF. Obviously, they have their website as well. And if it's a recently updated website, then you'll have all of their latest branding in there. There are things
dare I say, you could even head over to their LinkedIn company page and have a look at how they present themselves there, and even look at their CEO latest announcements on LinkedIn as well.
Correct. And the specific person you're dealing with, it doesn't have to be the CEO. Your people buy from people. So I'm looking for the person that you deal with. All my clients will have heard me say, right, what is the name of the person who has invited you to submit your proposal, or the names of the people that are going to be present at the final beauty parade presentation? Look them up. What are they posting about? Are they posting? What's their background? Where have they come from? Who are they? Right. And that's all to try and create some sort of match with their branding, their personal branding and their business branding. I'm also looking at their YouTube accounts, if they are YouTube producers and if they produced recent videos. What is their vibe on those videos? Some people spend a lot of money on their videos.
Right. Yes.
They've given good guidance to some probably pretty creative people who have reflected their branding in video format. So I'm looking at that. And sometimes, I mean, I get pretty obsessed about this sort of thing because I see the outcomes that it produces when somebody phones you up afterwards or sends you a message saying, wow, dude, you really get it. Thank you so much for your proposal. You really, before we even decide what we're doing, I just wanted to know that, I appreciate you. You get us. And, I'll even look at things like what font they're using on their website and in their brochures, and I'll try and match some of those sorts of things. And now I'm going to have all my clients looking at the documentation I've sent them in the past saying, oh, yeah, he's used our font. All of that kind of stuff. If they are representing images in graphical formats, maybe they do have charts and stuff, but those are the sorts of charts that I will use in my proposals.
Right.
Now, clearly, and you can do quite cool things that looking at their photos. You can do a Google search, site : and then their URL. Do an open search on that, and then filter just for images. Go onto the images tab, and you'll see all of the images that are used on their website. Right, so you can get a view for that. You can sometimes use some of their images. Why not?
You have to be careful, but I would say if there's something that's in public domain, well, you've got to be careful about potential copyright strikes and stuff like that. If you're going to put, okay,
this is going to be their proposal, their document. You're not publishing it and selling it.
That's right.
There's no problem with doing that.
Yeah, all right.
You want to be careful if you want to use other people's images. Because, not because you'll get sued for it, because nobody's going to see a document that you send to one person.
No, absolutely not. It's about if they don't feel represented in the way they want to feel represented, I guess. And also, I suppose at that stage, what you're trying to do is impress upon them one basic idea, which is you see them. You get who they are. And because you, in a way, as you've been saying, David, you want to reflect back to them that, that you took all those notes, and there's a reason why you took all those notes. And the reason why you spent time looking at their annual reports, the reason why I looked at their website or LinkedIn content is so you can sort of understand what they represent.
Exactly. And I want to show them that I know that. I want to demonstrate that this is how I understand you. So
would you help me by summarizing our position today, please?
I'll do my summary. It's important to brand it according to the person that you are sending the proposal to, so that you can demonstrate that you have learned about them and that you can click with them, and that they feel comfortable reading it. It feels like they have ownership of that document. And the ways that you can represent their brand is to immerse yourself in all of their sort of most recent public persona on their website, on their social profiles, their LinkedIn, on their YouTubes if they have such a channel, in their brochure, if it's somebody with a retail presence, look at the retail presence on your high streets, and reflect that branding in your proposals. Not just look and feel. Remember, I also said the language that you're using, and the way that they communicate their own information. So ultimately, they feel like they're the recipients of the document that belongs to them.
Guys, I can only say thank you for David for bringing this to hopefully all of our attentions. Really, you should check out who the people is you're trying to sell or want to sell to or going to sell to, and make sure that when you present them information, it's in a way that they're going to receive the easiest, and that's by following their brand. Cheers, David. I'm looking forward to our next one. But until next time, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and look after that mental health. Bye-bye now.